fifth graders, hopefully you have your packet out, you're open to page 22. We're gonna do, we're gonna do some problems together today in there. Now, if at any point you wanna pause it and then try it on your own and then press play, that would be a great practice, but please make sure that you are watching this all the way through just to make sure you don't miss anything, because I am gonna talk about LCM a little bit more within this. Okay, so we had practiced choosing a common denominator in class to add fractions. So basically we use the same strategy we do when we compare fractions. It says rewrite the addition problem so the fractions have a common denominator, then find the sum. The sum is just the result of an addition problem. So with this first one, I have 7/10 and 1/5. Those denominators don't match, so I'm gonna ask myself, is there something I can multiply the lower denominator by to get the higher? In this case, there is. I can multiply 5 by 2 to get 10. So I'm going to rewrite my problem on this line. 7/10 doesn't change, but this 1/5 is going to change into 1 times 2 is 2, and 5 times 2 is 10. All right, when you add those together, 7/10 plus 2/10 is going to give us 9/10. And 9/10 is in simplest form. It's not improper, so we're good to go. All right, for number 6, I have 3/11 and 1/2. I can't multiply 2 by anything to get 11. And the first number that 2 and 11 would have in common, if you counted by them, is 22. So this is one where I would multiply each fraction by the opposite fraction's denominator. So I'm going to take 3/11 times 2 over 2 and 1/2 times 11 over 11 and rewrite my problem. This is just like when you compared. So 3/11 is now going to become 2 times 3 is 6, and 2 times 11 is 22, plus 1 times 11 is 11, and 2 times 11 is 22. Now that my denominators match, I can go ahead and solve this out. So 6 plus 11, that's going to give us 17, and we bring over the 22 because the size of the pieces isn't going to change. All right, number 7 is one that I'd like to talk about. I know that I can't multiply 4 by something to get 6. So you might be thinking, I'm just going to multiply this by 4 over 4 and this by 6 over 6. And you can do that. You'll just end up having to simplify your fraction at the end. When I see 6 and 4, I don't see 24 as the first multiple they have in common. If I count by 4s, I would hit 12 before I hit 24. And if I count by 6, I would hit 12 before I hit 24. So if you solve this on your own and you did times 4 over 4 and times 6 over 6, you'll end up getting the same answer. You'll just have to simplify it. I'm going to multiply this using the LCM, the lowest common multiple. So the lowest common multiple in this one is 12. I can multiply 6 by 2 to get 12, and I can multiply 4 by 3 to get 12. So my new fractions would be 2 times 1 is 2, 2 times 6 is 12, plus 3 times 3 is 9, and 4 times 3 is 12. All right, now we're going to add our numerators. 2 plus 9 is 11, and I bring over my denominator, 12ths. Now if you did this the other way, you're going to get 22 over 24. So I'll just write this off to the side here. If you did it the other way, you'd get 22 over 24. This right here is correct. It's equivalent to 11/12, but it's not in simplest form. They're both even, so I can tell they're not in simplest form. If they're both even, that means I can divide them each by 2. So if I had used 24, at the end I'd have an extra step of simplifying. So 22 divided by 2 is 11, 24 divided by 2 is 12, and now you would get the exact same answer. Okay, number 8. I can't multiply 5 by something to get 8. So I'm going to go ahead and multiply this by 5 over 5 and this by 8 over 8 because 40 is the first multiple that they'd have in common. There's not one lower than that. So 5 times 3 is 15. 5 times 8 is 40. 2 times 8 is 16. And 5 times 8 is 40. Now you see we have matching denominators. The bottoms need to match. So I can just add the top. I know that 15 plus 15 is 30. And 16 is 1 more, so that means my final answer would be 31/40ths. That's in simplest form because there's not a number other than 1 that would divide evenly into 31 and 40. All right, number 9, this is another example of using the LCM, the lowest or least common multiple. You are probably super tempted to multiply 3/10 by 15 over 15 and 4/15 by 10 over 10, but you don't have to. If I counted by 15s and I counted by 10s, the first number I would reach is 30. It takes 3 10s to get to 30 and 2 15s to get to 30. So I'm going to multiply 3/10 by 3 over 3 to get 30 as a denominator. And I'm going to multiply 4/15 by 2 over 2 to get 30 as a denominator. So 3/10 would become 3 times 3 is 9, and 3 times 10 is 30, plus 4 times 2 is 8, and 15 times 2 is 30. Now I get to add 9 plus 8. So 9 plus 8 is 17, and I have 17/30ths. If you did this the other way, you're going to have 150 as your denominator, and you're going to have to keep simplifying all the way until you get down to 17/30ths. So this way, it saves you that step of simplifying at the end. All right, let's do some stories here. It says Bashir walked 1/4 of a mile to his friend's house and then another 3/8 of a mile to the park. Make a diagram to help you find the total distance he walked. So to make a diagram, that means I want to put 1/4 and 3/8 together on here because he walked 1/4 and then another 3/8, and we want to find the total distance. So for 1/4, if I was going to make a diagram of that, I'll draw a rectangle. And if I want to show 1/4, I would divide that into 4 pieces and shade 1/4 of those pieces. Now it says that Bashir walked another 3/8 of a mile to the park. Now, when we use fraction bars for addition, that means I want to put 3/8 in addition to this. But do you see how it's divided up into fourths? That's not going to work. I need it to be divided up into eighths. And what's nice is if I multiply 4 by 2, I get 8. So I'm going to take each one of these pieces and make them 2. That's the same as doing times 2. So now you can see I have eighths. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it says he walked another 3/8 of a mile. So there's my 1/4. Now I'm going to shade in 3/8. So I can shade in 3 pieces now. 1, 2, 3. Now when I give my total, what's the total for 1/4 plus 3/8? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces are shaded out of 6, 7, 8. My answer would be 5/8. So when you're changing this 1/4 to eighths by multiplying it by 2, that's what that means. You're just cutting each piece into 2 pieces and doubling it. That's times 2. All right, number 11. Meg and Marcus are making a quilt. So far, Meg has finished 2/5 of the quilt. Marcus has finished 1/4. What fraction of the quilt have they completed? So this means that I want to put them together. I want to add 2/5 plus 1/4. And I see that they don't have a common denominator. So in this case, I can't multiply 4 by anything to get 5. The first number that they would have in common is 20. So I can go ahead and multiply 2/5 by 4 over 4 and 1/4 by 5 over 5. When you do that, we're going to end up with 2 fractions to add where the bottoms match. So 4 times 2 is 8. 4 times 5 is 20. 5 times 1 is 5, and 4 times 5 is 20. All that's left to do is add those together. 8 plus 5 is 13, and my denominator stays the same. So 13/20ths of the quilt. Next one. Of the songs downloaded from a music website on Tuesday, 1/6 were country songs and 3/11ths were rock songs. What fraction of the songs were country or rock? So that means it could be one or the other, so I can go ahead and piece them together. So I want to add 1/6 and 3/10. Now, I know that you probably want to just multiply this by 10 over 10 and this by 6 over 6. And I told you we were going to talk about the LCM a lot in this one. When I look at 6 and 10, I don't see 60. I see 30. 30 is the lowest common multiple. So if I counted by 6s and counted by 10s, the first number I would reach that matches is 30, not 60. To make 6 30, I would have to multiply it by 5 over 5. To make 10 30, I would have to multiply that by 3 over 3. So 1/6 times 5/5 becomes 1 times 5 is 5, 6 times 5 is 30, 3 times 3 is 9, 10 times 3 is 30. So I'm going to go ahead and add those together. 5 plus 9 is 14. My denominator doesn't change. So 14/30ths of the songs. Almost half, but not quite. 15/30ths would be half. If you did it the other way, you'd have 28/60ths, and then you have to simplify it. Those are both even, but maybe you're noticing like, hey, 14/30ths are both even. We've got some work to do still. So how would we simplify 14/30ths? Think about that. Well, they're both even, so I know I could divide them both by 2. So I'm going to take 14 divided by 2 and 30 divided by 2. And 14 divided by 2 is 7, and 30 divided by 2 is 15. So we could actually say 7/15ths of the song. 14/30ths wouldn't be wrong, 28/60ths wouldn't be wrong, but 7/15ths is the simplest form and is the best way to say it. Okay, check for understanding. Add 2/3 and 1/6. Draw a diagram to help you find your answer. So this will be just like number 10. I'm going to draw a diagram first with 2/3. So when I do that, I'll make my fraction bar. And if I want to show 2/3 on there, that means I would cut this up into 3 pieces and shade 2 of them. Now I want to put 1/6 on there. I can't just shade this one piece because this is 1/3, but I do know 3 times 2 is 6. So I can take each one piece and multiply it by 2, or draw a line to cut it in half. So now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is out of 6ths. So if I want to put 1/6 on here because I want to add those together, I would go ahead and shade one of those pieces because this now is 1/6. So that would mean my answer is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 6ths. And if you did this the other way that we've been learning, 2/3 plus 1/6, I would multiply this 3 by 2 and the 2 by 2, and I'd have 4/6 plus 1/6, and 4/6 plus 1/6 is 5/6. So you can see with the diagram, this stuff actually works. It's crazy. See you soon. Thanks for watching.